What's going on, everybody? I hope you've all been enjoying your Sunday and you're enjoying your Sunday night so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I have a little bit of news that just broke about a couple of hours ago concerning Daniel Jones and him potentially, actually he is going to be switching representatives for his agents heading into free agency with a new contract and free agency looming for the New York Giants' current quarterback. Now, obviously, we've all been hearing about the rumors going on with Daniel Jones, about the type of money that he might be commanding in free agency, about the kind of years that he's looking to command in free agency, with him obviously being 25 years old right now, not turning 26 until later this year. Daniel Jones coming off a pretty good year this past season, throwing for 15 touchdowns overall and only 5 interceptions, throwing for a little over 3,200 yards this year. And Daniel Jones obviously having a great performance that he had back in the playoffs against the Minnesota Vikings. This is very interesting, though. The fact that Daniel Jones is willing to be changing agents at this point with only free agency going on in only a couple of weeks away. Daniel Jones is expected to switch from the CAA agency, and he's going to be joining Athletes First. That's according to Jordan Raanan of ESPN. Although Raanan also goes on to say, not sure how much this impacts will have, but it's at least interesting. Maybe Daniel Jones is thinking, switching to this type of agency with Athletes First might give him a better chance to possibly secure a long-term deal with the New York Giants, or if God forbid he somehow gets to free agency, which I don't think he will. But either way, this is very interesting that Daniel Jones would want to switch agents at this point. Obviously, we know about his market value right now that is being sought out and talked about right now amongst, the NFL analysts and the NFL journalists and stuff, that they believe that Daniel Jones is going to be commanding around 35 to 38 million per season, possibly even 40 million. Now you look at Daniel Jones's numbers. 67.2% completion percentage during the season, 3,205 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions with a 92.5 quarterback rating. Quarterback rating is actually very good. Same thing with the yardage overall. 3,205 yards, not too bad. Could be better, but it's not horrible. The completion percentage is high, but at the same time, Daniel Jones was checking the ball down a whole lot. Short passes, not a lot of deep passes. Now, obviously, I don't want to go into detail on why. We know about the whole Daniel Jones argument. Is he better than he is? He's not. He is. He's not. But at the same time, I wonder if Daniel Jones is trying to switch agencies because he's trying to get the bag right now in free agency. Why wouldn't he? I'd argue right now Daniel Jones could be one of, if not the most sought-out quarterback heading into free agency this year, with the fact that he's only 25 years old at the moment, and he's not turning 26 until later this year. 6'5", 220-pound quarterback who rushed over 700 yards this season, along with throwing over 3,200 yards this season. That's a combination of around 4,000 yards total for Daniel Jones in terms of total yardage for this season. And a lot of teams would be interested in signing a guy who could potentially be put in the right offense, maybe be able to tap more into the potential of the former Duke University quarterback from 2015 to 2018 and the number 6 overall pick back in 2019 by the Giants. But obviously, the Giants would be nuts right now to let him go at the moment, because if he's not playing quarterback, who is? That's the one argument that I will say, and for the Daniel Jones haters, is who's playing quarterback. But with him switching to this new agency, does this mean that Daniel Jones is really going to make it a difficult process with the New York Giants? Because you have to think about it. Daniel Jones is coming off a solid year. But at the same time, it's very interesting, because Now with him switching agencies, this could change everything in terms of what Daniel Jones is looking for. It could mean nothing, or it could mean something. I mean, who really knows what's going on with Daniel Jones in terms of, what he's going to do this offseason? I mean, Daniel Jones was being represented by CAA since 2019, and it's kind of ironic that because he didn't get his fifth-year option picked up, and just a couple of weeks until we get to free agency, and literally a couple of weeks until the franchise tag deadline begins. Franchise tag deadline is on the 7th of March, but you can officially start tagging players with the franchise tag starting next week. Do I think Daniel Jones is going to get tagged? Do I think the Giants want to tag Daniel Jones? No. $32.4 million tag. At that point, you might as well just try to sign him for $35, $37 million a year per season. Because then at least you'd have him locked up longer. And if, God forbid, Daniel Jones has a good season, his price tag is going to go up even more. But then at the same time, if he has a bad season, his price tag will start dipping. And then that could also play. It's such a tricky situation right now with what this whole thing could be. Now, like I mentioned, this could honestly all mean nothing in the end game. But at the same time, this could actually be something very interesting on what Daniel Jones is looking to do going into free agency. Like I mentioned, 25 years old, $35 million per year or more he's expected to command on the market if he signs a long-term deal. 220-pound quarterback coming off a pretty good season. The stats don't jump off immediately. 3,205 yards, over 700 yards rushing, 3,205 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 92 overall rating, quarterback rating, and a 67 QBR on the season. Obviously, the touchdown numbers are very low, but it's really how you want to take it in terms of how you feel about Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones can be a good quarterback. But at the same time, Daniel Jones has got to show a little bit more to me. I mean, he's got to show a little bit more. And I've seen other quarterbacks go out there play with maybe not the talent that Jones has had, but he's had a little. But some of these other quarterbacks have had lesser talent and still perform well. So it's really however you want to take the whole Daniel Jones argument. But I wonder if him switching this new agency is his tactic to try to get more from the New York Giants in free agency. And that's really going to put Joe Schoen and the Giants in the line of fire of what they're going to want to do with this whole situation with Daniel Jones. I mean, does this mean that Daniel Jones is looking more for about a $40 million per year contract? Because you look at the other quarterbacks that are going to potentially get big deals. Lamar Jackson is going to be commanding around $45 to $50 million. Joe Burrow is possibly going to get extended this offseason. He's looking at around, $50 million per season. Jalen Hurts, who just took his team to the Super Bowl and had a terrific season, a runner-up for the MVP, he's going to be looking for $45 to $50 million. Who says Daniel Jones is not going to want to look for some money as well? And maybe $35 million per season is not enough for the quarterback. While I don't think he's worth $35 million or more, I think he's more of a $30 million to $32 million quarterback per season. Maybe the Giants are thinking otherwise. Maybe Daniel Jones, and now switching to this new agency that he's putting together, joining Athletes First, is an indication that he might play a little bit of hardball. I'm just throwing it out there. You don't have to say he is, but I'm just throwing it out there just in case. This is Daniel Jones' chance right now to secure a good long-term deal. This might be his best chance right now to secure a long-term deal. And he doesn't owe the Giants anything. I'll say the same thing about Saquon Barkley. As much as we love Daniel Jones, as much as we love Saquon Barkley, they don't owe the Giants a damn thing, and they don't have to take a hometown discount if they don't want to. This is their livelihood they're thinking about. This is both their opportunities to lock themselves into a long-term deal. And Joe Schoen has really got to think about what is the best thing to do for his team. So I find it very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of other fans and content creators and analysts and journalists say the same thing. This is very interesting that Daniel Jones switching agencies this late in the game, right as we go into the last full week of February before we hit March. Free agency is only a few weeks away. Like I said, this could mean nothing. This could literally mean nothing at all with this whole situation with Daniel Jones. Or this could mean Jones is actually going to gauge the market for these other quarterbacks, and he's not going to want to settle for what the Giants are willing to offer him. But at the same time, the Giants hold the cards because they have their franchise tag. And if they can't work out a long-term deal with Daniel Jones, then you know they're going to place that $32.4 million franchise tag on Jones because they can't afford to let their quarterback go. And then obviously, what does that do with Barkley? A lot of moving parts to think about when it comes to the New York Giants. A lot of moving parts. And it's just very curious what Joe Schoen and his thinking right now is going to be. Because it sounded like all the things you've heard, Giants definitely want to bring Jones back. They like what Jones brings to the table. They think that Daniel Jones could be the answer. But at the same time, you have to not overcommit a certain amount of money and dollars to a quarterback that you don't know if he is the true answer. While you might have some indication he is, it doesn't mean he actually is. And I like Daniel Jones, but I am not paying him $40 million per season. I'm not. 35 to me is stretching it, but I would probably do it, even though I don't love doing it. I think he's more in the $30 to $32 million range. I know it's like penny pinching a few million here per there, but you got to think about what the terms of the numbers and, you know, the true growth of Daniel Jones. And all you have to do is look at the playoffs. In the playoffs this season, you saw the good Daniel Jones in Minnesota, and you saw the bad Daniel Jones in Philadelphia. So, Joe Schoen, Brandon Brown, Brian Daboll, and the Giants coaching staff and front office have really got to gauge what to do exactly with this whole Daniel Jones situation. And especially with him switching agents and maybe him looking to try to secure more and trying to hold out the closer we get to free agency, maybe Daniel Jones is thinking bigger than just $35 million per year. But we'll have to wait and see. But you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about this interesting move for quarterback Daniel Jones of the Giants, switching agencies from CAA to Athletes First. Only a few weeks away from the beginning of NFL free agency and only a couple of weeks away from the franchise tag deadline that'll be on March 7th and free agency starting on March 15th. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Sub up to NYGJeffyT85. More news, updates, and chatter surrounding the New York Giants. And turn on that bell for notifications on videos and shorts dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Sunday. Thank you very much as always. Take it easy and always let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.